Hi everyone, it's Cara Whedbee with Simply Magical Patience by Cara, coming to you live today for Topic Tuesday, a new segment. It won't be every Tuesday, but it'll be when I have a topic I need to talk about so that you can have this video to watch later when you need more information about this topic. And it'll be on this page and also my YouTube page. So today's topic is tipping at Disney. And we're not just going to talk about Disney World. We're going to talk about Disney Cruise Line. We're going to talk about Adventures by Disney. We're going to talk about Disneyland. How much money should you take with you to tip? And who are you going to tip? And what's it going to be for when you are at these places? And I've got my Toy Story Land notebook here from my Toy Story Land training and my Toy Story Land pin to keep track for us so that I can give you a general idea of how much money you're going to want to take with you for tipping and how much of it should be cash and how much can be Disney gift card or credit card tipping. So let's get started. As I go, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the comment section here. All right, so first off, let's start with Disney World. So tipping at Disney World, let's assume that you're going to fly because that'll involve Magical Express. So I get this question all the time. What do I need to tip? Do I need to tip this person, that person, my bus driver, my whatever, who should I tip at Disney and how much cash should I bring with me? So let's talk about that. First off, let's assume you're flying, not driving, and let's assume that you're taking Magical Express and you're staying on property. So you are going to go from Orlando International Airport, which is MCO call letters, to your Disney resort and back. It'll be a round trip with Magical Express. I'm going to do another Topic Tuesday video on Magical Express once I get my Magical Express tags in the mail for my next trip. But Magical Express will pick up your luggage for you. Okay, so they send you these luggage tags. If they don't, there's a backup method you can use. And again, we'll talk about that in another video. But Magical Express is something where luggage should already be gone. The only thing you should have with you is your carry-on. Now, if you don't do that, like if you're arriving late at night, and again, another video, but let's say you're arriving past the time that Magical Express will get your luggage and you're getting it yourself. That is the only time I tip a Magical Express driver. And that's if I am taking my luggage myself and I'm not letting Magical Express pick it up using the luggage tags. Okay, so if I am picking up my luggage myself and I am picking it up from the baggage claim, I'm going down to level 1 of Terminal B at Orlando International, and I'm going to get on the Magical Express, and I have my luggage with me. And that Magical Express driver is putting my luggage onto the motor coach underneath it on the way to the resort. And then when we get to the resort, that person is also taking the luggage back off the motor coach. I'm going to tip that person. So the way I do luggage tipping is this: $1 to $2 per bag. So if each party, let's say you have a party where each person checks 4 bags, and let's say you have 4 bags that the Magical Express person is putting underneath the motor coach and taking back out when you get to the resort, then I would tip them between $5 and $10. So let's write that down. Magical Express round trip then would be $10 to $20 that you're going to tip the Magical Express person, depending on how many bags you have. This is for a family of 4. All right, so that is Magical Express when we get there and when we leave. That is the tip for that. All right, and that's the only time you tip for Magical Express. But we're going to assume that you had to get your luggage and that they put it on the coach and took it off for you. Okay. Magical Express is your first tipping experience when you go to Walt Disney World. Then when you get to the hotel, there's Bell Services. Bell Services is your concierge or the people who are going to take care of your luggage. Want to go right to the parks. Let's say that you land and you want to go straight to the parks and you brought your luggage with you. Magical Express didn't get it, and you need to get until your room is ready. So let's say your room is not ready yet. You're going to need to store your luggage. In order to do that, Bell Services is going to give you a luggage tag. They're going to tag all your stuff and they're going to put it back in their locked room behind the desk there at Bell Services until you come back and ask for it. Or you can go to your room, call them and ask them to bring it up. If Bell Services has to bring your luggage to your room for whatever reason, you get back from the parks and you call them and you want them to bring it to you, you're switching resorts mid-stay, and Bell Services resort is delivering it to the next resort, and then you get to your room, resort and call for Bell Services to bring your luggage. If Bell Services is bringing your luggage or anything else, a package delivery, anything else that you may have ordered from Amazon or whatever else, and you call them from your room and they bring it to your room, you should tip them. So let's say that you have your luggage brought to your room by Bell Services after you've had a day in the parks and you had to pick it up. And you've gotten back and you ask them to bring it to your room. So Bell Services, same thing. It's baggage handling. So $1 to $2 per bag. So, okay, that's usually how I do that. So $5 to $10. All right. Let's say that you declined mousekeeping. Mousekeeping is your housekeeping at Walt Disney World. So let's say that they had some kind of promotional opportunity going on, which some resorts do, some don't, and I don't even know if they're still doing this, but they have been recently, where they'll say, if you forgo mousekeeping on a daily basis, then we will give you a Disney gift card and this certain amount per night of your stay. And again, that's not a guarantee, and that doesn't happen at every resort, and it's not necessarily happening now, but it has in the past. So let's say that you don't have mousekeeping on a daily basis. They're not coming into your room and refilling your toiletries, and they're not coming in and refilling your towels and toilet paper and all that kind of stuff on a daily basis, making your bed, that kind of thing, doing turn down service, etc. If you don't have a mousekeeper coming in every day, then you don't need to tip mousekeeping. And honestly, I never tip mousekeeping, but some people do, some people don't. This is kind of one of those gray areas. But if you do decide to tip a mousekeeper at the end of the week, let's say you had them come in every single day and do service and do clean your room and refresh your towels, refresh your toiletries, etc. And they just did a stellar job and you want to tip them. Again, that's up to you how much, $5 to $10, but put it in an envelope with their name on it. So let's say that we do tip mousekeeping. I'm keeping a tally here for their work. Let's say they did a stellar job and we gave them like $5 to $10. You need to put it in an envelope. Now, sometimes the mousekeeper at the beginning of the week will have a little card that's sitting in your bathroom on the counter or somewhere, say their name. If you know the mousekeeper's name, then put their name on the outside of the envelope and put thank you on the outside and then seal it. Put the money inside and seal it. Here's why you want to do that. If you're trying to tip mousekeeping and you just leave money out on the counter, they have to assume that that's your money. And if they take that, they're stealing. Okay, so you can't just leave money out if you want to tip mousekeeping. They would get in trouble, obviously. So you have to put it in an envelope. You either know their name or you don't. If you don't, not a big deal. Just write thank you on it and please keep or whatever, you know, something to let them know. One of the ways I like to tip mousekeeping, especially since I'm a DVC member, if I'm in a DVC villa, I don't get mousekeeping every day. Now, they do have trash service every day because someone has to be in your room every day now just after Las Vegas, just for safety reasons. Someone has to enter your room every day. So they're doing our trash every day for DVC, but they don't clean and they don't give us new towels or anything else. So I don't tip mousekeeping. But what I do is if normally at the beginning of the week, I'm going to buy some water bottles or maybe I have some apples I bought or some sort of groceries or whatever, and I didn't use them all. And it's something I could give someone else. If I don't know of any other friends that are coming to stay or that might want to use that, I'm going to tip mousekeeping with that as well. So, you know, instead of money, I might leave it out and say, please take, you know, thank you, please take, and put a note on it for them and let them know that theirs, that they can have it if they want it. If they don't, they can do whatever they'd like to do with it. But that way it's not just going to waste if you don't use everything you bought grocery wise. And most ABC resorts have a grocery store or a store that has groceries in it that you can use in your kitchen in your villa. So that's the way I tip them. I don't necessarily do cash because they're not cleaning my room, but I do like if I have something left over, then I'll give it to them. But if they've done a stellar job for you and you got on service every night and you want to tip them, then put it in an envelope, put their name on the outside, say thank you, something on it so that they know that's for them. Okay, so we've talked about mousekeeping. Let's talk about if you take private transportation. Now, do you need to tip the Disney transportation that's complimentary, like the bus driver for your bus or the monorail driver or the boat driver? No. No, Disney transportation pays them. You don't need to tip them any extra. That's part of your stay. But let's say you get a rideshare service. Like let's say you do a minivan. Do you need to tip the minivan driver? And again, that's through the Lyft app. I actually have separate information in my photo albums on how to order a minivan. Do you tip a minivan driver? No. In fact, it says it when you're ordering it through the Lyft app, we cannot take your tips, or we do not accept tips, or whatever. So that's a flat $25 rate service, and you do not tip them. Now, Lyft offers you the opportunity at the end of any rideshare service, including minivans, to tip. And you can just add it on to what you're paying on your card, but you do not have to. And Disney specifically says minivan drivers cannot accept tips. So don't try to give them cash. Don't try to add it to the Lyft app. They can't accept tips. Now, if it's a regular Lyft driver, like if you didn't call a minivan because you thought that was too much money, or you didn't have that many people, you didn't really need that big of a car, and you just did a regular Lyft driver to maybe get you to an early restaurant reservation or something. And again, I recommend using Lyft in Orlando, not Uber, because Lyft is safer, number one, and number two, Lyft is cheaper in Orlando. Their rates are cheaper. So if you've got that Lyft app and you're ordering just a regular Lyft, like you're going off property, maybe you want to go to the Disney Character Warehouse and then come back to Disney Springs or somewhere else. If you decide to do a regular rideshare driver, then you do tip. And that one, I usually tip $1 per rider. So if it's me and my husband, or me and someone else, or, you know, me and my friends, then I will tip the Lyft driver. So, but you can do that on Lyft's app. So as soon as you finish the ride, it'll ask you to pay. You go in there and pay, and then you can add a tip. It'll give you the option to add a tip, and you can customize it and say what amount you want to add, or it'll give you choices of like $5, $1, whatever. Again, I usually do $1 per rider on the Lyft tip. So that is up to you, but that's just my thing. So let's say that we did a Lyft to an early morning restaurant reservation that we didn't want to be late for, and we didn't want to have to wait on a bus for, or maybe it was off, you know, at a resort and it was hard to get there. I'm going to tip them roughly like bucks. There's two of us. I'm going to tip $2. So that is going on our list of tipping. And again, I'm not going to tip the minivan driver. They cannot accept them. All right. So once I've gotten my tips in for rideshare, mousekeeping, bell services, Magical Express, is there any other place you tip in Disney World? Yes. Okay, so the other place you tip in Disney World is, let's say you go to Harmony Barbershop on Main Street and in Magic Kingdom, and you get your kids get, or you get a haircut, and I highly recommend it. It's cheaper than Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. It's only $19 for a kid's haircut, and they'll give them pixie dust or dust if it's a boy, and they'll do any age. They'll do baby's first haircut and give them a special certificate and stuff. So there's no age limit on those. So let's say you go there and get your haircut. I like to tip the hair person. You know, I mean, they did especially if they're doing a kid's hair, they work hard and they're working on a moving target. But you can pay with your credit card there, and you can just add a tip to the receipt. And again, I would just do like what you would do with your regular salon person. I mean, I usually tip mine like 15%. So whatever you like to tip, it's going to be like another $5 or so. So I'm going to put that down on our list here. Now at Bibbidi Boutique or a place like that, that is a package deal you're purchasing. You're purchasing the outfit and the hair and the makeup, or just the hair and the makeup, or whatever, or at Pirates. Those are all going to be a package deal and gratuity included. You're not expected to tip on top of that. Speaking of gratuity, so that's the other thing that you need to plan for at Disney World, okay? If you are a party of 6 or more, Disney World is going to automatically charge you 18% gratuity on any table service reservation at a restaurant. So and this is something I warn my clients about, but sometimes people don't think about it, or they don't think to tell them how they're paying for the gratuity. So that's one of the reasons we're having this discussion. If you are a party of 6 or more, that 18% is already on your bill, okay? So you do not need to double that. You do not need to pay an extra gratuity on top of that. If you do, then man, you must have really liked them. You're paying them like 40%, okay? So you have to understand that that gratuity is already on there if you're a party of 6 or more dining together. And a lot of people that I work with, it's multiple rooms, it's multi-generations staying together, it's multiple families traveling together, and there are always a party of 6 or more. So definitely talk to the other parties in your trip and about this tipping thing. Who wants to do it? Do you want to split it up? You know, each party pay for their part of the tip, because it's all going to appear as one price on your bill. And so then you're going to have to decide how you want to split that up. Maybe one party takes one restaurant, the other party takes the next meal, whatever. Or everybody just pays for their own. But you need to know that 18% is on there for parties of 6 or more, and you have to pay for it. Now, used to, they would ask, but I've had people come back recently and say nobody said anything and they accidentally double tipped. So let me explain this. You tell that waiter or waitress when you sit down at that restaurant, we're paying gratuity this way, and tell them you either want your magic band charged and you're going to pay it when you get back to the resort with the Disney gift card. You're going to pay it with a Disney gift card and you would give them that at the end of the service, or you're going to pay them with cash. Whatever way you're doing, they should not be double charging you, and you should not be leaving a tip on top of what you're already charged. Okay, so if they're scanning your magic band and you have a credit card linked to your room, that credit card is also linked to your magic band, and you're putting in your PIN number to use your dining credits. If you don't tell them, they're going to charge that to your room as well. All the gratuities being charged to whatever magic band got scanned. So definitely tell them ahead of time how you are paying for gratuity, okay? I'm either going to pay it myself with cash on the table, I'm going to pay it, with my magic band, I'm going to pay, later, or I'm going to give you a Disney gift card for it. Tell them up front, I'll give you my credit card for it. And they can split it up. If you've got 2 or 3 parties and 2 or 3 credit cards, they can work it out. But you need to tell them in advance how you are paying for that table service gratuity, okay? And again, if it's parties of 6 or more, it's 18% flat. They're going to charge it. It's on your bill already. If you are less than a party of 6, if you are 5 or less in your dining party, you have to choose how much gratuity you're going to pay, and you still need to tell them how that's happening. Okay, it won't automatically be on your bill, but you still want to tell them up front when you start the meal how this is going to be charged. Okay. So I usually like to bring cash for the gratuity, and usually our families, when we're traveling together, we split it up. Like one person's going to pay gratuity for this meal, and then I'm going to pay gratuity for this one, and then like maybe my parents are going to pay for the next one. So definitely talk about that in advance, because it's a chunk. If you're going to a buffet, like a character buffet, just because you're using your dining plan, the gratuity is not included in that. And so if you're a party of 6 or more and it's 18%, sometimes those gratuities are $100. So you got to know who's paying for that. And have that planned out ahead of time. And definitely tell your server, especially if you're a party of 6 or more, this is how we're paying for the gratuity. Don't let them just charge your magic band, because most people have a credit card attached. So definitely tell them, I am paying for it this way, so that it doesn't get charged, okay? And tell them again, when they're going through and scanning a magic band for each room for the dining service credits, tell them, we're not paying gratuity on our magic band. We're going to put cash on the table. So let them know, but that 18% is on your bill and it has to be paid. So you've got to let them know how you're doing it. All right. So that is gratuity for table service. And again, you have to decide, do you want to pay cash? Do you want to use your credit card? Do you want them to charge your magic band and use a gift card later at the front desk to pay your charges for the day? Or do you want to just give them a gift card right then to charge it? Up to you. I personally like charging it to my magic band and going back and paying for it later at the front desk, because then I can pay, I usually get big Disney gift cards, so then I can pay all my charges for the day at once. But that's how I like to do it. But you can do it however you want. My parents like to have cash. My mother-in-law likes to use her credit card. So it all just depends on what's best for you. But I usually like to use a gift card because I buy them discounted, and then it's like I got a discount on my meal or my gratuity or whatever I bought that day. All right, so that is, believe it or not, all the tipping at Walt Disney World. So that's how it works. You've got Magical Express person if they handle your luggage. You got services if they handle your luggage or groceries or a package. You've got mousekeeping if you want to. You've got Lyft driver if you order a regular Lyft and not a minivan. Harmony Barbershop if you get your kids' haircut there and get like pixie dust or pirate dust put in. Gratuity for table service. So those are all the things that you can expect or that you have a choice to tip for in Walt Disney World. Okay, so let me tentatively add this up. You're going to need, let's see, 10, 20 bucks for that, 30, 45, 50, roughly $50 in cash for cash tipping. And you're going to need several ones. Make sure you have that for the cash tipping. And then for gratuities, it depends on how many are in your party, and it depends on how you're paying for it, how much you need for that. I just get a gift card amount for how much I know I'm going to need. And the way you figure that up is that on DisneyWorld.com, under things to do on the website, and then reservations, you can look at every single table service menu. And on the menu, it'll show the charge for everything. If it's a buffet, the lower number is a charge for breakfast. The higher number is the charge for lunch and dinner. So just go through there, figure how much it's going to cost for everybody in your party, ages 3 through 9, or a kid's charge, 10 and up is adult charge. So just go through there and figure out how much your gratuities are going to be. And if it's a party of 6 or more, you can do 18% of that and have a real good idea before you go how much you're going to owe. So that's a good way to figure that out. But as far as tipping goes, a family of 4, I'd take roughly $50 in cash, and I would have most of that as ones or 5s. And then you should be good to go. All right, so that answers that question. How much do I tip at Disney World? The next one that's kind of confusing is tipping on Disney Cruise Line. So let's talk about that next. When you go on a Disney cruise, I'm going to go ahead and write this down. Currently, the gratuities that are mandatory that you're going to be charged either on your bill on the ship, like on your ship charge account, or you can prepay the gratuities beforehand, which is what I like to do. It is going to be $12 per person per night of your cruise. Okay, so go ahead and figure on that. It's $12 per person per night. You can either prepay them, which is again what I like to do with a Disney gift card because then I get it at a discount, or you can pay them when you get on the ship. And again, on the ship, they'll let you use a Disney gift card. They'll let you use your Disney Reward Dollars card if you have a Disney Visa card. They'll let you use cash. They'll let you use credit card. So once you get on the ship to pay your onboard account, you can use any of those things. But those gratuities are going to be charged, whether you prepay them or whether you pay them when you get on the ship. So with that knowledge, like if you know that that's charged already, what else could require tipping when you're on a Disney cruise? Because you're already prepaying these $12 per person per night gratuities, which is actually a great deal considering the fact that everything's included on a Disney cruise, including your dining. That's a really good deal. You're not having to tip every time you eat at the restaurant every night. You're not having to tip your waitress, all that kind of thing. You're just not having to do that. All of that is prepaid in these prepaid gratuities, and it's just $12 a night. So compared to Disney World gratuities on a party of 6 or more, a Disney Cruise Line is a much better deal dining wise. And that just doesn't cover your dining. It covers your gratuity for your room host as well. The person who's doing your turn down service every night, that's cleaning your room every day, that is doing your towel animals every night, doing your chocolates on the bed, all that kind of stuff. And that person's amazing. They do your turn down service for any of the extra beds you're using in the room. So those people are great. They'll get you anything you need. If you lose your remote and you tell them, they'll find it and stick it out for you. So they are wonderful, and they get paid within that $12 per person per night. Now, at the end of a week on Disney Cruise, you can choose to pay these people extra, and they will give you a set of envelopes the night before you check out for these people. There's like 4, I think. There's your main host in the dining room, your main server, your room host, and I think there may be one more that involves dining. So those people are, you can give them an extra tip on top of the $12 per night that you prepay in gratuities, or that is going to be on your onboard account if you don't prepay it. All right, so I like to look at their service over the week, and if they do a stellar job, I'm going to give them the top rating on their survey, because they're expected to get the top rating on that survey. And trust me, Disney Cruise Line cast members are amazing, and they deserve it. So definitely always rate them at the top, unless you just have a horrible experience, but I doubt it. I've never had a horrible experience. So those people are always working for the top rating on the survey. Make sure you get it to them. But also, if they just went above and beyond, for me, I have food allergies. It's rough. Every night, my poor host has to come over and bring me menus from the next day for all 3 dining experiences for the next day that I can order from a menu. And I have to pre-order with him, and he has to talk with me about everything, talk with the chef about everything, make sure it's all, accurate and done right. So like they have to do extra work for me. So I'm going to pay that person probably the most. And so on my last Disney cruise, here's kind of how I did it. These 4 people. So you can bring 20s, 10s, and 5s for this type of tipping. You also may want to bring some 1s, because even though room service is included on a Disney cruise, 24-hour room service is included, and most of the food in the room service is also free. Some of it's not, if it's prepackaged, or if it's a canned drink, then that costs extra, or alcohol. But if it's like something that's on tap, or if it's like a root beer or whatever, something that already coming out of the soda machine, or if it's cookies and milk, or if it's a premium Mickey ice cream bar, yes, you can get those in room service. Hot wings, whatever, those are not going to be charged extra. However, that poor person your room host usually is the one that delivers it. They have to go and get it, and if you have food allergies, they have to talk with your regular host and make sure it's all accurate before they bring you room service. So that's a little extra work, and I feel like even though the food is free that they're bringing you, I think you should tip them. If you get room service, I would bring a couple bucks for each time you get room service, just to tip the person who's bringing it. And then as far as, we'll say $10 total for that. As far as your extra 4 people go, I gave $20 to my main dining room host because I require a lot more effort. So I gave $20 in addition to the money he was getting out of the $12 per person per night in the special envelope. And then what's cool about that is you can give it personally to them on your last dinner. So you can actually give them the envelope and see their reaction to getting an extra tip. So I gave him $20. I gave the regular server an extra $10, the drink server an extra $10, and I gave our room hostess or our room host an extra 20. So let's see, 40, 50, like $60 in cash there is what I used for that. And say if you do room service, you'll need some more ones. So I'd say about $70, $75 is what you're going to need on a Disney cruise to tip. And that's if they do a great job. If they don't, then don't tip them extra. They're already getting the $12 per night gratuities per person per night that you're already paying. So if you didn't feel like they did above and beyond, then you don't have to give them anything in that envelope. Okay. But if you feel like they did, then that's roughly how I do it. That doesn't mean you have to give them that much. It's to, you may not have any food allergies and you may be really easy to serve. So if that's the case, you don't have to give them that much extra. So that's totally up to you. Some people ask about tours, like if you go on a tour off the ship, or, like if you're at Castaway Cay and you do like snorkeling or a jet ski or something, do you need to tip the person that's doing the operation of that tour or that activity? Not usually. They're also going to get paid out of that $12 per person per night gratuity. If you go on an Adventures by Disney, though, like let's say you're sailing through Europe or the Mediterranean or one of those Disney cruises and you're adding on the extra Adventures by Disney side trip, or it's like an extra Adventures by Disney tour each day that you go on off the ship, you're allowed to tip the Adventures by Disney tour guides. And again, that's up to you how much you give them. Some people give them like $25 at the end of the week. I mean, it's just totally up to you. And so the Adventures by Disney conversation is this: you're already paying gratuities and things like that as you pay for your trip, or your Adventures by Disney trip. So really, you don't have to tip them extra, but if that particular adventure guide that you're with that whole week is just awesome, and you can usually have 2 guides, one that's native to the country and one from the US. So if you want to tip those 2 guides $5 each, then I would bring like $50 for tips. Now, if you're on a Disney cruise and then you're adding on Adventures by Disney tours, then you would use what we just talked about, Disney Cruise Line tipping, and then you would add the Adventures by Disney onto that. I have never tipped somebody who is taking me on a cruise excursion, though, or a port excursion, because I know that it's already included in these gratuities. So. And I know that the price I paid for that excursion includes gratuity. So there's really no need to tip them extra. Okay, so you're going to be paying for those extra that it'll be charged to your onboard account. All right, so the next place we need to talk about is Aulani. So Disney's Aulani is in Hawaii. It's a resort and spa in Hawaii. And I didn't talk about that in Disney World. If you go to the spa, and if you go to the spa on the Disney Cruise Line, your gratuity is included in that spa payment, and it's 18%. It's an automatic charge. So you're going to pay that on your credit card, or you're going to have it charged back to your room as part of your bill, but that is charged regardless of whether or not how much the service was. Okay. So if you're using rainforest service on the Disney Cruise Line, that's different because you're not talking to anybody. You're not being serviced by anybody. But if you're like getting your nails done like I did last time, if you're getting a manicure or a pedicure, or let's say you're getting a massage or whatever, that gratuity is going to be charged as 18%, and it's going to be charged with your spa bill. So you're going to pay whatever the charge is plus that 18% gratuity. Okay. And that's on the cruise line. That's on Disney World spas. That's on Disneyland. That's at Aulani spa. So if you're going to a spa and you're getting a service, not just going to the rainforest room, and taking a shower or using the hot tub, if you're actually getting a service and somebody is working on you, then that gratuity is going to be automatically charged, and you can just use a gift card to pay it as part of your charges at the end of the day or whatever. You don't have to have cash for it. It's just on your bill. Okay. So that is how spas work at every Disney location. So at Aulani, it's the same thing. If you get a spa service done, like a massage, a manicure, a pedicure, get your hair done, a blowout, whatever, it's going to be 8%. It's going to be on your bill. If you are doing something like the hydrotherapy at Aulani, or just like a spa service that you do on your own, then it's somebody wasn't doing anything for you, so that's different. But if you're getting a spa service done then by a person, then that gratuity is going to be charged automatically by bill. Okay. At Alani, they also have restaurants, but they do not have dining plans. Now, sometimes if they're doing a deal, like especially in the fall, they might include like a quick service meal today at their Umu location, or which is their quick service, or they might give you like a voucher for a couple of dining choices or something at Alani as part of your deal. But gratuity is never included in any of that stuff unless it specifically says so on the voucher. So you're paying out of pocket for the meal, but you're also going to pay the gratuity. And then you decide how much you pay, obviously, unless it's a party of 6 or more, and they might automatically add it on, always like that. But at Alani, there's not going to be a ton of stuff. The Auntie's Beach House is included, and that's childcare. And that is complimentary. It's included with your stay. So you don't need extra for that. If you want to drop your kids off and you go to the adult only area at Alani, you're good to go. It's like being on the cruise ship, but in Hawaii on the beach. They also have scuba diving. They have luau's. They have other excursions that you can do at Alani. Again, you don't need to pay extra. Usually gratuity is included in the price you pay per person for the excursion. So that's pretty much Alani. It's not really difficult. Disneyland's the same way. Hey, Will. So it's the same way. You really don't have a ton of stuff to tip for at Disneyland. There's no dining plan. If you get a voucher, let's say I'm booking a Disney package for you, a Disneyland package for you, and that includes your room and your tickets, but you also decided to add on the premium character meal voucher or the character meal voucher. Either way, that includes gratuity. So you should not have to pay any extra on top of that. That's included for that one meal. Any other dining you do at Disneyland, you're going to pay the gratuity. And unless it's a party of 6 or more, it's not going to be automatically charged. So then you decide. Let's see. As far as Disneyland goes, they do have bill services at the on-property resorts. Some of the off-property ones do as well, the Good Neighbor hotels. You decide. If they're helping you with your luggage, same thing, $1 to $2 a bag. If they bring a delivery to your room, same thing, $1 to $2 a box or whatever. And sometimes they automatically charge you. Like Disney World, supposedly, if you pre-order groceries or from Amazon, they're charging you $5 handling fee, but that's not consistent. I've had some people say they got it charged on their room charges, and some people say it didn't. So it's not consistent, but technically they can. So Disneyland is not as much for tipping. There's just not as much there you can do. They have a spa as well. Same difference. It's going to be charged on your bill if you get a spa service, your gratuity. So there's really not a ton there. They don't have a shuttle service. They have a magical shuttle that will take you from LAX to Disneyland, but you pay for it. It's not free like the one at Disney World. And again, if they are picking up your luggage, which they will be there, then you can tip that driver. If you rent a car, then you wouldn't be tipping anybody. And Disneyland has the ability to rent a car at Disney, downtown Disney, or you have the ability to do it at the airport. So that's totally up to you on that, how you get there and back. Or you can do a road trip like we did. So, and then you'll pay for parking each night, which is a new thing at all these places. That's not tipping, that's just extra for parking. All right, so the main tipping conversation we need to have for most Disney destinations. There are a select few restaurants at Walt Disney World where gratuity is included. You get it on the dining plan, or whether you pay for it out of pocket, you're going to be paying up front. Okay, so let's talk about those. Cinderella's Royal Table. If you eat in the castle, Cinderella's Castle in Magic Kingdom, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, if you're on the dining plan, it is a 2 table service credit dining package. Okay, you're paying 2 table service credits for that meal, regardless of whether or not it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. That 2 table service credits, though, includes your gratuity. Okay, so you do not have to pay extra gratuity if you're eating at Cinderella's Royal Table. It is included in your 2 credits, or when you prepay for that meal, which I believe it's roughly $50 per person, you have to prepay for it if you don't have a dining plan when you book that reservation. So if you're pre for it and you paid your $150 or whatever it was, depending on how many people you had with you, $200, then that also includes your gratuity. Okay, so Cinderella's Royal Table gratuity is included. Any of the shows, the dinner shows. So like if you go to Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Review, if you go to the Luau at Polynesian, if you go to Mickey's Backyard Barbecue, gratuity should be included in those. Okay. And some of those are also prepaid. So if you don't have a dining plan, all of those are 2 table service credits. If you don't have a dining plan and you're going to the Hoop-de-Doo musical review, then when I book your reservation, you're paying for it with your credit card. So it's a prepaid reservation. Even if you have Tables in Wonderland, any other discount that they accept at one of those shows, you have to prepay the full amount. And then when you get, you have to show them your card and they'll give you a refund for it. Okay, so whatever the discount was, they'll give you a refund. But you do have to tell them that when you get it. But you have to prepay. Hey, so that is how that works. Those few restaurants and dinner shows that have gratuity, you do not have to pay extra for. You're paying either 2 table service credits or you're prepaying for the privilege to book it. Okay. So that is how those work, but they are very few and far between. Okay, so I think I've covered all tipping at every Disney location that I can think of. So does anybody have any questions about tipping at any Disney destination, any Disney location? How much should I bring with me? We've already established you need about $50 in cash, mostly ones for Disney World, plus your 18% gratuity if you're a party of 6 or more on your table service meals. If you're on a Disney cruise, you're going to need roughly $70 to $75 in cash, mostly 5s, 10s, and 20s. And if you want a couple of ones for room service tipping. And if you do the spa, it's going to be 18% included in your bill. And that's the spa anywhere. And Disneyland, you shouldn't need that much. I would say more like half of what you would need at Disney World, like $25 at Disneyland. They don't have a barbershop either at Disneyland. So, and then whatever gratuity you need for your table service dining, which there's much less choices at Disneyland for dining as well. Okay, so I think that covers everything. Does anybody have any questions? I'll ask one more time. I know there's a delay here, so just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. But I get this all the time. How much should I bring? How do I tip? Who do I tip? Mousekeeping is important. Make sure you have an envelope with you. So definitely this is how you do it. This is how much you should expect for a family of 4 is basically what I did this for. So if anybody has any questions after the video, feel free to put it here on the comment section. I'll respond to you, or on YouTube once this goes to YouTube. But hopefully this has answered your questions about tipping at any destination. And if you have any further questions, please let me know. All right, that's it for our first Topic Tuesday. I hope it was helpful. And the next Topic Tuesday will most likely be on Magical Express. We have a lot to talk about on that one. And so hopefully I'll get my documents soon and we can do that. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.